a better list, a more than 10 list. But I can't. So Super Mario Luigi Superstar, this is where it goes. Where it goes. The number 9 was weird. The number 9 was actually supposed to go to another game. Which is Fire Emblem. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do my top 10, and I'll do special mention. So for the special mention for number 9 is Paper Mario. Special mention for number 10, I would have to go with Fire Emblem Tree Houses, because I think out of the Fire Emblem, and we know how important Fire Emblem is, I think Tree House is the best game, because you have 3 different mentality, you have 3 different camps. It's up to you to decide, do I prefer this camp, do I think they're a bad guy? And who's a bad guy is actually up to opinion. It's up for grabs, right? I think it's an amazing game. The problem with that is it's too long of a game. It's long. And the problem with Tree Houses, the biggest problem with Tree Houses is to get the full experience, you need to play the tree playthrough, right? But some of those playthroughs, they're the same scene. So it's annoying. So for that note, I would actually not give it to Fire Emblem Tree Houses. I would give it to Unicorn Overlord. The thing with Unicorn Overlord is it's classic Fire Emblem, but with a new sauce. It was one of the, there's a lot of games that are Metroidvania. A lot of games that are Metroidvania, right? And that sucks because a lot of them are shitty. Some of them are great, some of them are shitty, right? Unicorn Overlord is a simple, very good narrative. It's a long game, but not too long. It's fun. You can have characters that you really enjoy, some characters that you don't like. That are more important than others, but they all have a limit of a story. So actually quite nice. Now, number 8. Number 8 is going to be very special. It's going to be very special. I'm going to have to give it to Doki Doki. So Doki Doki, the reason why I love this game is it's super cute. It's supposed to be a happy romance story, but you're doomed from the start. The 3 girls are crazy. The 3 girls will end up horribly if you don't choose them. So you play this game, which is a romance Sims, and you're like, okay. And one of them that I don't choose is going to end up horribly. What am I supposed to do, right? And there's no hope for that. But if I would go for a horror game, I would actually go for Resident Evil 8. Because Resident Evil 8, you see, Resident Evil was a game that came much later in life. I never played the original. I only played the remake for the 2, the 3. They're an amazing game. I love Resident Evil. Possibly, in my opinion, Resident Evil are possibly the best game. And the horror genre, Resident Evil 2 and 3 are the best game. But they're too short. You can finish the game in 2 or 3 hours. And although they're great games, and although there's a replayability, you can play the game 4 or 5 times. It's still a $7 game, right? I would say Resident Evil 4 is actually much better. With the DLC, with Separate Ways, it's much better. It's a perfect game. I love this. Then again, I'm stuck with this position of, I would have liked more to play it more. Now, the actual Resident Evil I prefer, I think the 7 is the scariest. I think the 7 is amazing. But the problem with the 7 is, it's a horror game, but spoiler. The villains are victims. So there's only one villain, that's Evelyn, and you only fight her for a couple of seconds in the game. The rest of the time, you're fighting against the mother. The mother who's a victim. She's crazy. She has a tumor in her head. The father who only wants to help the girl, right? And it's a shame. And Lucas, which is really crazy, but at the end is a wussy. He doesn't do shit, right? And that sucks. That really sucks. Now, on the list, there's going to be another game, which is Dragon Ball Budokai 3. So Dragon Ball Budokai 3 came much younger in life. So I'm thinking about the PS2. Weirdly speaking, PS2 was the best console for me because it was a console where there was an unlimited amount of games. See, the Game Boy Advance, they had a lot of games. But the Game Boy Advance, back then, I would buy a cartridge versus having an emulator. And the cartridge was, okay, well, there's a game that I like, there's a game that I don't like, there's a game that I like, there's a game that I don't like, you see? And it's flawed because... And the PS2, I had games that I really enjoyed. I had Dragon Quest 8. But the series that I really like are Dragon Ball Budokai. I don't know if it's Budokai Tenkaichi or Budokai. I think it's Budokai. But the whole series is amazing. So I'm an anime fan. I'm a huge anime fan. You're gonna have Naruto. You're gonna have Ken Kaneki. I'm a huge fan. You're gonna have Ishigo Kurosaki. I'm a huge fan of anime. And ultimately speaking, I think personally speaking, one of the best anime game ever made was Tenkaichi. So the Budokai, why I love this so much in the first one, this is my introduction to What If. They all are strong on What If. The first one was amazing, and the first one was really cool. It's ending with Cell, and if you end with Cell, the strongest character is Gohan Super Saiyan 2, but the second strongest character is possibly Vegeta, Super Vegeta, and I've always preferred Vegeta to Goku. So give me a game where the strongest character is my favorite characters, I'm very happy. I'm very, very happy. Budokai Tenkaichi 2, I really enjoyed because Budokai Tenkaichi 2 was such a special game to play. It was almost like a chess, like a board game. You would move pieces with characters, and if you move pieces with characters, you could get special character. You could get a lot of special interaction, which was really cool. Which makes you think a little bit. Okay, I know Krillin and Android 18 have a love story. So if I go in and I place Krillin with Android 18, what's happened? Oh shit, I recruited her. Budokai 3 is my favorite game. Honestly, it could be number 1. I'm not even joking. It could be number 1, but there's a lot of games that are very good in the list. The thing with Budokai Tenkaichi 3, why it's such a favorite game, is because if you learn how to play it, it's actually really cool. So, for example, right, there was a really simple trick with Goku. Goku, you go to the opponent, you transform into Kaioken, right? The opponent guard is break, he's stunned, you charge, transform into Super Saiyan 1. Charger, the break is, blocking is broken, the sense is broken, charge Super Saiyan 2, sense is broken, Super Saiyan 3, sense is broken, Super Saiyan 4, right? It's amazing in my mind because it was such a simple. Also, I love the fact that I can punch, press circle, and that creates a attack which is Kamehameha. I love that. I love the fact that if there's a combo hand had, I can have a physical attack. Don't give me, oh, I'll charge now, do I play attack? No, give me combo, and then give me a special attack because I think it's cool. I think it adds to the fluidity of the game. Now, Tenkaichi 3, why it was such a special game for me, was one of the first like open world game that I had. So you could go to a city, you could go to another city, you could go to another place, and you would go down and they would give you cash. You could train with Cyberman. There was multiple, and I'm thinking about 1920 storyline, right? Storyline. And what was really cool with Budokai Tenkaichi 3, what was really cool, is you had different characters. So you could go with their whole story. So for example, if you had a character like Tien, you would get very small story till possibly the cell game. If you go in with Yamcha, the same thing. If you went with a character like Goku, you have this whole story. Really speaking, my favorite to do was Goten, because Goten gave you access to the movie, which was Broly. So you had a major Gohan and Goten fighting Broly, which I really enjoyed. You had a Broly saga, right? And I really enjoyed that game because, again, you had Super Saiyan. They introduced Super Saiyan, right? And the best thing about the game, the extremely best thing about the game, okay, let's be quite clear here. The game finished with Kid Buu. There was an Omega Shenron. Now to get Omega Shenron, you have to use the Dragon Ball a number of times. Then you got a Super Saiyan 4. You got a Super Saiyan 4, which was Goku, which was Vegeta, right? And the graphics are still quite nice. And then you have Omega Shenron, which is really good because he's the ultimate villain in GT. Right now we have Daima, now we have Super. But for the longest of time, the ending of Dragon Ball was GT. Like it or not, that was the ending, right? So it's different. It's actually very different. So Budokai Tenkaichi 3 was that. It was the proper finish to a... We were missing enemies like Baby Vegeta. You were missing enemies like not Truffle, sorry. There's a lot of characters that you missed. But Budokai Tenkaichi 3, what I really enjoy, which is a super shitty system. It's an incredibly shitty system, but it's one of the most effective, and that's why this is a top 10. I don't know why I didn't put it at top 2. Okay, yeah, I know why. Okay, the number of games is a lot better. Shit. So yeah, the Budokai Tenkaichi 3, what I liked was Dragon Arena. So you would meet bad guys, like for example, we're talking about the Ginyu Force, we're talking about Frieza, we're talking about the Cell, we're talking about a lot of characters. And you can put them in an arena and you can level them up. Dragon Ball Budokai 3 was also sort of a RPG. You can level up your characters and then you can level up attack or defense, right? And the great thing is, you have characters like you could say, you know what, I want to train freaking Frieza, right? Frieza was actually a really cool character to train. So you would train him and you would put him in the arena. You would train him and you would train him and you train him. And with that you would get cash or Zennies, which is the cash in Dragon Ball. And with the Zennies, you can buy capsule. So every single character has 7 spots for capsule. Some capsules took 2, and then took 1. Some of the better characters, for example, Goku and Vegeta, also had a wish through Shenron to use all capsules available. But the great thing is, you had a character like Frieza. And the crazy thing with Frieza is you had every single slot, which is 7 slots of to use. But the greatest thing is you had a Mecha Frieza, so you had a Frieza spaceship. And that's insane because you had Frieza, you got killed, spaceship appear, and you reappear as Mecha Frieza with completely different sets. That was, to me, that was amazing. It was amazing because Dragon Ball Z is one of my favorite shows. I think it has a huge importance culturally speaking when it comes to anime. But sadly, if you look at the normal Dragon Ball and if you look at the GT, it's like a character. I'm going to talk about a show like One Piece. I'm going to talk about a show like Bleach. I'm going to talk about a show like Naruto. They have a lot more characters than what we have here. So it's different, you know? Good. Now, the next on the list is the Tower. Now, the Tower is one of the most, not in my list, is the game that's less known. It is the game that is the most controversial. The Tower is a very unique game that should make it on top 10, but when it doesn't make it on top 10, it's top 5. So the Tower, the reason why I love the Tower is, for the first time in my life, I've loved the game that is idle. So, usually the game is idle. So for example, we're playing this one. We're playing Tokyo Go. We're taking Arc Knight, right? Those games are idle. And the greatest thing about an idle game is that you don't have to play it. So when you're tired after your shift at work, you can play an idle game. The Tower is the only idle game that I've played for now in a year and a half. The Tower is one of my favorite games on mobile. And lately, I understand that mobile is my favorite console. I do have a PS4 that I love. I have a Switch that I love. I have a Virtual Gaming that we opened up 2 days ago. We opened up 3 days ago and I love it. But nothing beats mobile because mobile is something I'm going to bring to work. I'm going to bring somewhere. I'm not going to bring a console. I'm past that age to bring a gaming console with me. With my cell phone, it's excuse. I can say, oh yeah, but I need to call somebody or shit like that, right? Speaking of, I need to check if my girl, because yeah, I have a girlfriend. She texted me, no, didn't text me. Oops. So yeah, so the mobile gaming, and I think I wanted to push the mobile gaming. But if you really look at what I was saying, a lot of those games are different console, which were part of my life. So mobile gaming, I'm gonna have to go with the Tower. The Tower, why it's so good? Because the Tower doesn't punish you for being idle. The Tower doesn't punish you for not playing that much. The Tower will punish you if you miss tournaments. Will punish you because there's ranking. But if you take away the ranking, you play only the mode. It's nice. There's no story, which is lacking, but also very good. So I'm playing a game called Arc Knight, right? And Arc Knight, the game is 900 hours. There's no way, even if I was the smartest man alive, I would remember the whole story. Right? I would remember, there's no way. The Tower, there's no stories. And it's odd because it's weird because I almost didn't put it now, I put it, it's number 5. The Tower also is, it's weird. It's such a complex game. It's possibly the most complex game that I've ever played. Because if you want to go, it's a tower defense game where you're defending a tower. There's more to it. Like for example, today I realized that a model I was using on one playthrough was so great and so good on another playthrough. You learn the what is the best ultimate weapon for your playthrough. I have 3 playthrough. You learn that it's kind of cool because the more you do tournament, the more you get reward. If you miss them, other people get reward. Other people get reward that you haven't gotten. Other people get reward that you haven't gotten. They get stronger. Now the ranking, you're behind, right? It's also a game that is the reason why I love the Tower so much, and that's the worst reason to love a game. But the Tower is a game that you can play in the background for months and months and months and months and months and months, and then you have 1 week where you really want to play the Tower. You really want to play it, and you're obsessed with it. So you play it, right? But ultimately speaking, what you're going to do it is the number of months that you don't play. It's just grinding. It's just an RPG, and it's really fun. It's really fun. I actually played through of it. I got 3 different playstyle of it. It's really fun. There's no. The grinding is a bit too much. I would wish there was a little bit of narrative, not too much, but a little bit of narrative. We're talking about events every single week. We're talking about events every single week. We're talking about tournaments twice a week. We're talking about a game that has module labs, and different tier. There's a clear goal to the game. But a clear goal is not attainable. A lot of people have attained it, but very rare. I think it's like 2% of the player base have reached the goal, right? And those people put in cash and cash and cash and cash and cash. And I did put cash in it, I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, Tower possibly my favorite mobile game. It beats every single game that I played. And again, I think one of my favorite mobile game was also Arc Knight that I mentioned before. Arknight was great. Call of Duty Mobile was actually phenomenal. But I gave up on Arknight after a year and a half. I gave up on Call of Duty after a year. I haven't given up on the tower, right? And that's pretty much it. Yeah. The tower, what I also like is, in the weirdest way, see, we just did a video. We just finished a video where I was thinking about 32 years old and how I feel to be 32 years old and what changed at 32 years old. In reality, it didn't change that much, right? But I don't have a lot of time to game. I have to film. I have to film right now. Right now, we're playing an idle game. It's not a tower, but it's kind of the tower, right? I'm streaming. I'm writing. I'm doing clips, right? I'm writing for IDs. I'm working a lot. And even I don't even have a job. I'm just working hard. If I had a job, imagine, right? So I push myself. But knowing that I have a game like the tower that can film in the background. You want to know something funny? Last year, I had a depression. My depression, I couldn't film. So what I did, I went on Netflix. And I'm not even joking. I watched the entirety of Better Call Saul. I watched the entirety of Game of Thrones, the first season, the second season, and I watched the entirety of Breaking Bad, which is 3 weeks. And I played the tower. Yeah. Why was it so important? I'm getting emotional talking about this. Because I could still make content. That was the most important part. And if anything at all, that's 2 weeks that I would have never gotten back. That's 2 weeks I could have done more. But I did something. The tower was there for me. The tower is a game that once again can be idle. That's pretty much it. Next on the list we have Pokemon Silver. Now this is, ladies and gentlemen, this is Pokemon Silver. Holy shit, this is number 3 on the list. So we're almost getting there. We're almost getting to the very end of gaming. Now, the fun thing with Pokemon Silver is actually a really, really interesting story. There's actually a really, really important moment in my life. It's actually a really, not necessarily sentimental moment, but it's really, really important to me. So, my father was against gaming, and I was a gamer at heart. My father was like, no, go outside, go play outside. My mom was like, you want to play a game? Play a game, I don't care. My mom would buy a lot of games. My father didn't like me to have a Game Boy at home. My mom, what she did was she bought me the Game Boy Advance, she bought me the DS. And then she thought that I had a DS. She knew I was gonna bring something here. My father's house in hiding. And this story, I swear to God, on everything that's holy. On my mother's life, on my father's life, on my own life, I swear to God, this is a true story. I would play Nintendo DS at my mom's house to bring the Game Boy Color. Game Boy Color, I used to go to bed. My parents were very strict. At 9 o'clock, right? And I would wake up the next morning at 6 o'clock. So I didn't go to sleep before midnight, before 11. I was spoon fed with Ritalin for my ADHD. One side effect of Ritalin is insomnia. I had a... Can't even tell the story. I had, I don't know what you call it, a flashlight in my mouth. I had my cover up on my head, and I would play Game Boy Color. Now, the game that I played the most was Pokemon Silver. Pokemon Silver is actually a really important part of my life because it's my first Pokemon game. It's the first Pokemon game that I played ever. And Pokemon game were super important to me because I was a gamer. Right? I love Pokemon. I still do, but less. And Pokemon Silver game was such a cool game because it would take me 72 hours and I would restart it. Oh, I went with Typhlosion. Let's go for Feraligatr. I went for Feraligatr. Let's go with Chikorita. So if you're smart, you know that's 72 hours, 144, 72, 216 hours, right? I would play possibly 5 hours a day, which makes 40 days, which makes a month. I had a month of gaming already planned. And that was every single year I did that, right? And the thing with Pokemon Silver, which was important to me, was I didn't learn English until I was 18. Once again, Pokemon Silver wasn't about the story. The story is good, but it wasn't about it, right? Now, if you think about, and again, this is my opinion, right? You might disagree, you might agree. That's up to you. the later game of Pokemon. We're talking about Pokemon Black, White. We're talking about Pokemon Sun and Moon. We're talking about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. The stories are all important, but in the first couple of games, we're talking about. I think the story really took a turn in Sapphire Emerald, where we really had a story and it was really important. But Yellow, Red, Blue, story is actually quite simple. You got Team Rocket here, you got Gary there, that's about it. Silver, the same thing. Pokemon Silver was my favorite game because my favorite Pokemon game. Pokemon Silver was the very, 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 very first game I said was perfect. Was perfect. You know why? You know why? It was simple. When I look at Pokemon Silver, it's retro. When I look at Pokemon Silver, it's a game that I enjoy. I love the 8-byte music. I love it. I love that the game has 251 Pokemon. Right? I love that. I love the 151 so much because they're the OGs. But I still get some more, right? I love the fact that we have night and days. Different Pokemon at night, different Pokemon at day. So for example, right, one of the playthroughs I was playing during the summer. My parents were working. I would play in the morning. I had day Pokemon. The other playthroughs I did, I was playing at night, hiding in the cover. I was playing at night. I get Pokemon that are coming up at night. Different. The berries. I couldn't plant berries, but every single day you could get some berries. I got a hard time at beating something. I would go with the berries. It was also phenomenal because the graphics were the best. You had different colors. If you look at red and blue, if you look at yellow, no other colors, right? But also, what was the best was the game felt completed. You had the whole game, and then again you had Kanto after. A very summarized Kanto, but it's still Kanto. And it was possibly the best game I ever played. And I still look at this game. Pokemon Silver was the first game that I think was perfect, and I wouldn't change a thing about it. Now, I'll be honest. I'll be completely honest. After that I played Pokemon Soul Silver, and I really preferred Soul Silver. But ultimately speaking, it was the best. It was the best. And the secret big boss of Pokemon Silver was Red, the trainer from the first game. So it was amazing. I'm sorry. I'm looking at. I'm nervous because I have 15 minutes left, and we have 2 titles left. So you know what I'm gonna do? Wait a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, perfect. Good. Okay, so we have 2 left. Now, the number 2 on the list is Elden Ring. Of course, I had to put Elden Ring. Elden Ring was the game that started me making content. I played other games before, didn't get noticed as a content creator. Elden Ring was the first game that I played that people were like, holy shit, yo, you suck. But then again, it was my very first experience with a Frog Software game. Elden Ring to me is still... You see, Elden Ring to me isn't the perfect game. I love Elden Ring, but I think there's a lot of shortcoming. It reuses bosses. The story is convoluted. The story is good if you know the story. If you don't know the story, there's no clear indicative of the story. You have to... It's tough, dude. It's tough. It's tough because what I give it a perfect score. Elden Ring is an amazing game. Elden Ring is my favorite game to stream. I streamed a lot of games. I streamed over 20, 30 games. And my favorite is still Elden Ring. It will always be Elden Ring. Elden Ring is a game I play every year, even though it takes me a couple of months to do so. Right? So... Oh, that's nice, dude. Yeah. You know? And ultimately speaking, Elden Ring is amazing because of the different style of playing you can play. You can play different classes, you can play different builds, right? And it's amazing, the story, the complicity of it. It's a hard game. Not a hard game when you beat the game speedrunning. I mean, when you beat Melania, when you beat Radagon, the whole DLC is actually quite complicated. Quite complicated. But Elden Ring, more so, is a story about... It's one of the first stories when you're not clear if you're the good guy or the bad guy. Should I burn the Erdtree? Should I not burn the Erdtree? Right? It's also a story where you have this one character that believes in you, that helps you out, just for you to burn her, right? It's also an amazing story because you can choose who to save. When you see the first game in my list, you understand what I mean. Yeah, so Elden Ring, amazing. From the world building, to the region, to the exploration, to the number of weapons, to the number of spells, the number of playthrough you can do with a different playthrough. From the character that you like and you don't like. One playthrough I like Rodney a lot. Then I saw the then I heard about Godfrey and I didn't like Ronnie as much, right? Not because Ronnie's not a good character, but that's my opinion. Also from Software, which is arguably one of the best companies to make games, did Elden Ring. But the reason why I love Elden Ring so much was Skyrim. Skyrim was possibly the best game ever made for the last 10 years. Elden Ring, in my opinion, is the one that dethroned Skyrim. That's why we love Skyrim. The last one was Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time. And for this, for my favorite game of all time, we're gonna do another video. And I know what you're saying, Ink. You tell us this is your favorite video, but you talk about 2 videos. How does that make sense? It doesn't. It doesn't need to make sense. That's my opinion. That's my choice, right? So I'll see you guys soon for the #1 gaming ever. Okay, that's good. So rounds. Big. Hey. Let's back away. No pass. No facts, bro. Okay, I got finish. I'm tired, dude. Good. Double in case you're blank, welcome to the show. Living Mobs are having a wonderful day. This is part 2 of our first gaming mukbang, which is #1 video game ever made. Now, we're gonna be cheating. We're gonna be cheating and saying that the first game, my favorite game of all time, is 2 games. It's 2 games, but we're gonna understand the reason. There's a good reason for that. So my first game that I always love, can I get a drum roll, please? Come on, a bit of suspense, right? Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask on the N64. N64 was once again my first console. I had the N64 before I had a Game Boy Color. It was my first console. And Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask are very special games because they, as a kid, they meant something. As a kid, they meant something. As an adult, they meant another thing. As a kid, I only wanted to be Link. Sorry, whoa, that's a big fuck up. I always wanted to be Link saving the world from Ganondorf, and as a kid, I only wanted to be Link saving people of Termina. You see the difference? I don't think I give a fuck about the adult people ever. I'm gonna have to say I have a clear preference for Majora's Mask. So yeah. So it's Anity because I don't know how to say it. I never give a fuck about the people of it, but they're still here. As a kid, it was really fun. As a kid, Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask were actually, swear to God, the first game that I gave enough of a fuck to go through the walkthrough. There's also the really important fact that my father, once again, didn't believe in gaming. So I had a Nintendo 64 till the age of 18. Now we got it possibly in 1996. The N64, I was 3 years old. Possibly a bit later than that. So let's say for the fun, just for fun, we're gonna say we had it at 5 years old, which is 1999, 1998, and we had it till grade at my father's house. My father used to have me 2 weeks. My mom used to have me oh, for fuck's sakes, I always pinch myself. God damn it. We'll be playing this game because why not? You see, even here, it's not perfect. It's not perfect, but it's okay. We'll have to do the best I can, and the best I can is gonna be enough. I'm trying to find a way where I can actually put this. It's gonna be nasty. Oh, should I do that? Okay, I have a plan. It's actually quite nasty. We're gonna take one of these, which is a powder. I'm gonna put back the cover here, right? And I don't know if it's a good idea. I don't think it is, but fuck it. You only live once. No, it doesn't fit. Okay. Well, we tried. What if I did that? Okay, it kind of fits. It kind of fits a little bit. Then again, you don't see it, so it's kind of stupid. Okay. So we tried something, it didn't work. My apologies. I'm gonna put it back there. The problem with back there is you don't really see it because there's a lot of lighting. When it's darker, you do see it really well. So the funny thing is, Zelda was. Whoa, we should look at. The weird thing is, having a Nintendo 64 didn't bother me for 13 years. It didn't bother me. I had a PS2 at my mom's house. I had a Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color. I had a DS, and I had a PS3. Right. It didn't bother me because of games like Zelda. I'll be completely honest. Zelda, I had 3 save files, which were all completed. Majora's Mask, I had 3 save files, was completed. So what we did is we went crazy, and we went crazy and we did the first game. And then we did Majora's Mask, and then we redid the first game, which took Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask. And the game in itself is, again, I think it's the difference between a adult psychology perception versus a young man perception. So, in the first one, yes, I wanted to walk through, but I didn't really care. It was fun to just beat the bosses. It was fun to just beat the fortress, and there wasn't a care for narrative. Once again, I didn't speak English, so I couldn't understand the narrative. It was just fun. I always remember having so much fun with the adult playthrough. Because the adult playthrough, so Ocarina of Time was also very trying emotionally. I'm tired. I'm trying. Crying. Not crying, sorry. Tired and trying. With Ocarina of Time, it was a lot. So, Ocarina of Time, right? It's so fucked up. I can't believe I'm gonna say this story. It's so fucked up. I didn't speak English at all. So Majora's Mask, I didn't even get past the bombers. Once I did get past the bombers, I never got past the Go Run. Because the Go Run, when you learn the story, you learn that you learn that there's a secret path. So you see you have to play the game to understand, but there's a secret path, and then you have to see the lens of truth, so seeing where you have to go, right? Otherwise you can't move on. But the current time, my first boss, which is Queen Goma, I was afraid. So as a kid, what I would do, and once again, I didn't speak English, so finding the Kokiri sword was hours of trying, right? And then when I went to Queen Goma, she was too scary. I would have nightmare, so I would restart. I would play this game till Queen Goma restart, and that's insane, right? Completely insane. But it's really fun because that's how much I love the game. Right? And then I went there, and then Majora's Mask. And the very fun thing was, I played Ocarina of Time. So, in Ocarina of Time, I got to the adult playthrough. But I didn't know that you have to go to the graveyard to get a hookshot to get to the first temple. So we go to the first temple, learn the music, but not know that, oh, you need a hookshot to get there. Right? So I couldn't get in the temple. And the funny thing is, when I learned English, the first thing that I played was Majora's Mask because I played parts of Ocarina of Time so often. And I fell in love with the game. Fell in love with it. But I think it's not talking about when I was a kid. When I was an adult. When I was an adult, there's 3 versions of understanding of the game. We went to the first one, which is just having fun. The second one, which is a lot darker. To be quite honest, to be completely honest, I didn't like Ocarina of Time as much as I did Majora's Mask. And for the longest time, I didn't like Ocarina of Time. Ocarina of Time to me was about good versus evil. You and Zelda versus getting them the big evil. Ocarina of Time feels so weird because Ocarina of Time were people that got destroyed by Ganon. So it's weird because in Ocarina of Time you have the child playthrough, right? And you have very happy Kokiri, right? You have very happy the Kokiri. The weirdest thing is, we'll talk about it in the third watch through, but it's gonna be special. This video's gonna be long. The second one, Kokiris are there, they're happy. The Gorons are there, they're happy. The Zoras are there, they're happy. You go to the Ganon plate, the Ganon, the 70 years of the Ocarina of Time, the Gorons are not there. They're getting getting imprisoned and eaten. And the Zoras, they're completely frozen, so you're fucked. Then you go to Shadow Temple, which is attacking the only place, which is Kakariko Village, right? And the Spirit Temple, which is you're helping the Gerudo, which is Ganon, and then you finally beat Ganon, right? It's a great thing. It's a great game. My issue with Ocarina of Time, the reason why I didn't like it was because these two worlds felt so different. See, Majora's Mask, no matter how dark it was, didn't feel like a completely different timeline. This, it feels like a different timeline. Now, we also have Majora's Mask. This is the second playthrough. I fell in love with Majora's Mask because of how dark it was. How dark it was. And I'll be completely honest, Majora's Mask was my favorite game of all time for 15 years minimum. I want to say till I got the PS4. It was a game that I was obsessed about. A game that I was completely obsessed about. Also, I rewatched the first video and I realized that we missed one of the game. One of the game we missed, so we only did 9 games, even with this one. So I'm gonna have to add another game. And yeah, so I think I'm gonna finish this and I'm gonna add another game. And then we're gonna come back to the last video. So Majora's Mask was my favorite game because it was so dark. It was about being a hero, being understanding that you're not able to help everybody. It was about, holy shit, I'm healing people. It was, I'm a hero, not because I killed Majora's Mask, not because I killed Ganon, because I'm helping people. I'm helping the small people. That's my second playthrough, and that's why I love Majora's Mask. It was such a dark game. It was such a dark game. Such a sad game, and I felt like I was a dark person, a sad person. And I was like, holy shit, dude, this game is dark, this game is relatable. And the reason why we love this game to this day as much is because of the third walkthrough. Then before that, I'm going to be looking at number 7, and I forgot. Number 7 is Borderlands 2. So, forever, I've always loved RPG. I've always loved RPG, and I always loved RPG. And one of the best thing about RPG was you were always starting as this really weak guy. I'm thinking about Final Fantasy. You're fighting goblins, and at the end you're fighting fucking dragons, right? So it was always that. I think when I started falling out of love with RPG was it was always the same thing. It was always the same thing that you start to weak and then you get stronger. It was a great thing, but after a while, RPG seems redundant. It doesn't matter who the enemy is. It doesn't matter what his plot is. It's always the same thing. You start weak, you get stronger, and then you beat the enemy, you become the hero, right? Borderlands 2 was that. Borderlands 2 was... It's a game that is crazy because I played it at my friend's house without knowing the name, and I fell in love with the game. I fell in love with the graphics, and then me and my friend fought. Then I didn't remember the title of the game, and then we went to the apartment that was broke. I was looking for cheap PS4 game to play, and I found Borderlands Anthem Collection. And the only reason why we bought Borderlands Anthem Collection was it was $29 and 2 games. Like, oh my god, dude, this is insane. This is crazy. And that's why we bought it. And then I fell in love with Borderlands 2 because of the Borderlands 6. See, the Borderlands 2 was a game that I played. I loved so much that I played for a whole year Borderlands. So we played the pre-sequel. I didn't really like the pre-sequel. I liked the story of the pre-sequel. I liked the narrative of the pre-sequel. Then we played this Borderlands 2 and I loved it so much that I bought Borderlands 1. Look how crazy I am. We went to buy Borderlands 1, then Borderlands 3 came out, we played Borderlands 3. And then after Borderlands 3, what happened? The pandemic hit. We played Borderlands 3 once again. Right? Then we played Tiny Tina Wonderland and I didn't like it. But Borderlands 2 is amazing because the narrative is amazing. Anton Jack is arguably one of the best villains ever made. Not because he's a great villain, but because of the world that you are in. The world that you are in is this cycle. They're crazy people. You're living in a society of crazy people. They're all psycho and they're all trying their best to do it. So you meet the Thunderdome. They're all nuts. Completely nuts. Nice. Whoa, I think it's snowing. See, ADHD today is bad. ADHD is really bad. It's really bad today. I'm having a hard time focusing. And Borderlands 2, what it was important was there was some instance of skills of RPG, which was really cool. The random it's the random drop. So for example, right, you had a character called Zero. And Zero was a character that focused on the sniper. You got a good SMG. Shit, man, I'm gonna have to build against around this SMG, right? The sheer number of Volt Hunter, you had 6 Volt Hunter, you had Zero, you had Maya, you had Salvatore, you had Axton, but you also had other characters. You had Krieg and you have Gage. That's 6 characters. They all have skill trees. One of them is survival, one of them is attacking, one of them is in the middle. So you focus on your skill, you focus on surviving, and you focus on attacking. That's 18 skill tree that you can do. Ultimately speaking, More Than 2 White was always great. It was gonna do the DLC. It's the first game that I bought that had 7 DLC included. So I get more than the main story, I get DLC, side story, of the same character I love. It was the Sword of Insanity. And in the Sword of Insanity, you had Roland. Roland was a clear-minded. You had Lilith, who was badass. You had Marcus, who was extremely capitalistic, but always there for you. And you even had Zed. Zed, who was a freaking psycho. But the only doctor around that actually was loyal, you know? It meant something. The Roland 2 was also the universe, so meeting people like Tiny Tina, meeting people like Brick, understanding that these are characters from the first game was amazing. And I love this game, right? So I think now we're going to go back to the first one, which is important also. So the first one was Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. Sorry for going back and forth, but I wanted to keep the best for last. My understanding as an adult of Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time has completely changed. And it's one of the best games. So Ocarina of Time completely changed. I love that game now. I can honestly say it's one of the best games ever made, Ocarina of Time. The reason why I like it so much now is because you understand how much Link sacrifices. It's not necessarily about being a hero, it's about being selfless. So in Ocarina of Time, right, you need the Kokiris. The Kokiri, which are your people. You don't accept you because they're not a Kokiri, but they're your family. And what is really cool what is really cool about that is the Kokiris are only alive because of the Deku Tree. When the Deku Tree dies and you couldn't save it. That's another part that I didn't like. You couldn't save the Deku Tree. The Deku Tree didn't care about being saved. It just wanted to test if you were ready to go out in Iroh. It didn't want you to go out there and die. They tested you. You can save it, right? And then you meet this other characters, this other level where you have to save the temple. The first temple, the Kotri, you can save it. The third temple, which is the Jabu Jabu, which is a god of the Zoras, that you don't give a fuck about, but you can save them. So in your mind, you want to save the Kotri, but then you save the god versus a tree. The tree in itself was only affecting Kokiri Forest, not the world. The god was affecting the whole world, right? So, the different race, the fact that the Kokiris are doomed from the start, and that the Goro are tribe people, and they see you strong, and because you're strong, they accept you. The Zora were highly snob, they don't care about you, until the princess falls in love with you. Now they give a shit about you because you're the future prince, right? But Ocarina of Time is that you sacrifice a lot, so Ganondorf is there. Ganondorf is an adult, and you're fighting a kid. So you pick up the Master Sword, which is the strongest weapon of the universe of Zelda, and you're not ready. So they trap you inside. They trap you inside this time zone, this chamber, this time chamber, for 7 years where you train. You don't adult to become strong enough to beat Ganon, right? And it's amazing. So for example, as a kid, you don't realize that, but as an adult, you realize that Link sacrificed the Kokiri, his family. He sacrifices the same chamber. Didn't give a fuck about. Was he willing to sacrifice 7 years of his life? Right? And then there's the temple. The first temple, you help the forest. And you only help one person. That one person is Saria. But she was there for you. She was your best friend. So it's worth it. And the best thing about the game is the details. There's a character called Milo, who's a Kokiri. And Milo was the first to bully you. Because you were different. When you're as an adult, what he says, he regrets it. Yeah. He saved the Goron. The Goron's once pride, now prisoner. Yeah, that because you helped his father when you were younger, he named his son after you. Which is a direct impact of your bravery. But the Goron, no matter how many you saved, you didn't save them all. The Zora, going to save them, they're all frozen. And the only one that's still alive is Princess Rudo, your wife. But most of all, what is the most important is when you're a kid. These three are important. These three are really important. So these three, well, these four. So we're gonna go another one after. We're gonna say what I want to say. So the fourth one is Impa. So Impa was okay. So you need to convince Princess Zelda, which is the only one that would believe you can help you, warn people against Ganondorf, right? And then Impa is the protector of Zelda. So she trusts you because Zelda trusts you, and you start to become very close friends with Impa. And Impa is a sage of the fourth temple. There's a village, so the whole world goes to shit. Ganondorf takes over the world. There's monsters everywhere. It's not a safe place. There's only one place that's left: Gerudo Village. The only reason it's safe is because of Impa. Impa sacrificed herself. Kakariko is there. Those four people that became your friend in the game, in their childhood, all sacrificing themselves to become time sage. The leaf sage, the water sage, the fire sage, the shadow sage. Right? Those are the sage. Then you have a last temple. That last temple is the temple of time. No, I don't remember. But one of them was you gotta have to help Neburo. And at first you're like, why am I helping Neburo? Why am I helping her? What the fuck? She's a Gerudo. No, she's not Gerudo. She's the only Gerudo that's not afraid of Ganondorf. So there's a you understand that there's a lore that every single 100 years one male Gerudo is born, and he's supposed to be king. Ganondorf was that king, right? When Ganondorf was that king, and you have to follow him because of the culture. Now you realize that Ganondorf isn't evil. Well, he is evil, but he's armless. He's just a Gerudo. The real people that are the bad guys are Utaku and Kotame, which are two witches that give power, dark power to Ganondorf, right? And you realize that the only reason he was there, he was powerful, was because of that. But you realize that there's more than that. These two witches, I don't remember the Gerudo, I don't think so. But because of that, Ganondorf declared war upon Hyrule. And he said, oh, guess what, dude, guess what? Gerudo has been a victim for so long. So, when you really look at the lore of Hyrule, you realize that the Gerudo and the Shaika, which is again the group represented by Impa, which were okay, so Hyrule was the king of the land. They were always the king of the land, right? The Shaika was the executioner, so the people that did the dirty work for the Hyrulean. Okay, makes sense? Cool. So then what happened was they had a fight with the Gerudo, and the Gerudo were cast away and put in the desert where they had to fend for themselves. But they didn't deserve it. And Ganondorf was like, yo, I want to be the guy to help you. Ganondorf doesn't care about Gerudo. He only wants to rule the world, right? And you realize that Neburo is the only one that can save the Gerudo. You realize that the Gerudo, even though they're not your friends, they're allowed to live, right? And that's it. Ocarina of Time it's so odd because it's weird because Ocarina of Time, it's super weird. How can I say that? The first time I played Ocarina of Time is the color. I think the world building is way better than Majora's Mask. It's way better because it's a lot lighter. It's a lot more colorful. The story is darker. The story is sacrifices. Link sacrifices childhood. Sacrifices friends. Link sacrifices so much for that. To beat one guy. Sacrifice everything. Right? And then the Curse of Link is there's three timelines. The timeline where Ganondorf defeat them, which gives a timeline. There's a timeline where Ganondorf is defeated. The timeline, and there's a timeline where Ganondorf is sealed. So the way it's sealed is Link take the sword and put it in the pedestal, the Master Sword, and you go back in time and you seal Ganondorf. But every single thing that you did as an hero, as an older Ganondorf, every single thing that you did in the outer timeline never happened. So you have all of this heroic facts, but nobody cares about it because they don't know about it. It's really dark. It's a story of a sacrifice. In this timeline, Link is a victim. Link is a victim. So much so, and in the second playthrough, the second game, which is my favorite ever, Majora's Mask. So, the only person that understood Link was Navi, which is the annoying fairy that followed you. She was the only one. And the fairy, okay, so the fairies are, okay, so you remember when I told you in the beginning you're a Kokiri, right? The Kokiri is a people that have fairies. They're people of the forest. The forests have fairies. So the fairies have a goal. The Kokiris are immortal. They're always children of the forest, right? So there's different. So the kids that are protected by Deku Tree are protected, they'll have fairies, which is the way of Deku Tree, right? And the people that don't get protected are either school kid, which we see in the second game, or the children the people that stay for more than 3 days, they die, or the Southfolks, which are skeleton, right? So in the Majora's Mask, Link goes to save Navi, but Link's actually spend more than 3 days, so he kind of becomes a school kid, right? So you end up in the world of Termina, right? And the first thing that you do is you get lost. The first thing that you do is get your horse stolen, get your ocarina stolen, right? So you go after this, and you fall into this hole, and it's all in my mind. It's supposed to represent Alice in Wonderland. So if you know the story of Alice in Wonderland, you realize it's another reality. It's a parallel universe, and the world of the parallel universe between Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask are there. Now the funny thing is, the real reason I was watching a documentary on it. So the creator of Zelda thought, I put so much money and I put so much time making Zelda works on the N64. It's such a commercial success. I want to make another game. But they only had 1 year because after that 1 year, we're going to come out with a GameCube. So they said, okay, let's use the same people, let's use the same mechanics, let's create another universe. So they create Termina, which is a parallel universe with the same people. The nicest thing is, if you read the manga you realize that Talon has a sister, and you realize that Talon's in the game. You realize that Eagle from the London Ranch is also in the game. Like characters that are in the game. Anju, which was in the first game, is in this game. They don't know you. They don't know you. And the first thing that you do is you get your heart stolen. We also get cursed. Because, so it's very, very special. It's very, very, very special. So there's somebody talks about it. But there's this is one of my theory, right? I don't know how popular it is. I don't know how known it is, but it's one of my theory. So my theory is that School Kid knew that you're the hero. So when you're the adult, right, you see the Forest Temple. And because School Kid knew you could stop him because you were strong enough to stop him, he transformed you into a Deku. Why he transformed you into Deku is because he's the weakest race, right? So I'm gonna take a break because I have to charge the phone. Okay. Holy shit, we went way